Juliana hated every difficulty that appeared in her life. She didn't know that in 6 months she would discover why some people call problems disguised gifts. This is the story of a woman who learned to smile in the middle of the storm and discovered that her greatest blessings came wrapped in the form of difficulties. And if you're tired of so many problems, this story will forever change how you see your challenges. Before I tell you Juliana's story, I need to ask you a question. Have you ever stopped to think about why some people seem to flourish precisely in the most difficult moments? Why others become stronger after going through trials? Juliana always thought those people were crazy. How could someone be happy in the middle of problems? But she was about to discover the secret that changes everything. Juliana, 29 years old, was always the type who ran away from problems. When things got difficult, she changed jobs. When relationships got complicated, she ended them. When challenges appeared, she gave up. Juliana lived a comfortable life, but without growth. Without challenges, without trials, and without evolution. Until in 1 week, her life turned upside down and she had no way to escape. It started with an unexpected layoff. The company cut 50% of the staff and Juliana was out. Then came her mother's diagnosis: aggressive cancer, expensive treatment, uncertain prognosis. Next, her boyfriend of 3 years ended the relationship, saying she wasn't ready for a serious life. In 2 weeks, Juliana had lost her job, her mother's health, and her relationship. For the first time in her life, she couldn't run away. She had to face everything at once. In the first week, Juliana cried, screamed, and rebelled. Why me? Why everything at the same time? This is unfair. But in the second week, something began to change. Juliana realized she had no choice. Either face the problems or sink with them. That's when she made the most courageous decision of her life. Instead of seeing problems as enemies, she would treat them as teachers. The first lesson came with unemployment. Juliana was forced to discover her true abilities. She had always worked in her comfort zone, doing the minimum. Now, she needed to reinvent herself. She discovered she had a talent for consulting, opened her own business, and in 3 months was earning more than at her previous job. The second lesson came with her mother's illness. Juliana needed to be stronger than she ever imagined. She accompanied every chemotherapy session, researched treatments, organized the family. She discovered an inner strength she didn't know she had. And in the process, she and her mother became closer than ever. The third lesson came with the end of the relationship. Juliana was forced to look inward and realize she had never invested in herself. She started therapy, developed hobbies, learned to enjoy her own company. 6 months later, she met someone much better, who loved her for what she had become. A year later, Juliana looked back and couldn't believe it. The layoff brought financial independence. Her mother's illness, who was now cured, brought family closeness. The breakup brought self-knowledge and true love. But the most incredible thing was how she felt inside. Stronger, wiser, more confident. Problems that used to terrify her now seemed small. She had developed an emotional resistance that didn't exist before. Juliana discovered that trials are not punishments. They are disguised promotions. One day, a friend asked, "Juliana, how do you manage to stay so calm during problems now?" She replied, "I learned that problems are like personal trainers for the soul. Nobody likes workout time, but everyone wants the results. Each difficulty is preparing me for something greater." Juliana's story reminds me of something James wrote almost 2,000 years ago. James also knew the value of difficulties. He wrote, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." James 1 verses 2 to 4. James understood something that Juliana discovered. Trials don't come to destroy us, but to build us. Each difficulty is an opportunity to grow, to become stronger, to develop emotional muscles we didn't have before. That's why we can have joy in the middle of problems. Not because we like to suffer, but because we know that on the other side of the trial exists a better version of ourselves. Today, as you listen to me, maybe you're going through your own trials. Difficult job, complicated relationship, health problem, financial difficulty. Maybe, like Juliana, you're asking yourself, why me? Why now? But I want you to understand something that changed Juliana's life. Your problems are not punishments. They're disguised gifts. Each difficulty you face is developing a strength in you that you didn't have before. Each trial is preparing you for a level of life you can't even imagine yet. Stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this happening for me? God doesn't waste pain. He uses every tear to water the garden of your soul. Each problem is a gift that you'll only be able to open when you stop running and start facing it. Consider it joy to go through trials. Not because it's easy, but because you know that on the other side exists a stronger, wiser, and more prepared version of you. And if this story changed your perspective on problems, subscribe to the channel and share it with someone who needs to discover that their difficulties are disguised gifts. Sometimes a person just needs to remember that each trial is a promotion waiting to happen. Until the next video, remember, problems are personal trainers for the soul. Nobody likes the workout, but everyone wants the results. Leave in the comments which trial in your life turned into a blessing. Let's remind each other that God turns everything into good for those who love Him.